call to order. I will now call the Tuesday, June 11th, 2013 Committee of the Whole meeting to order at 5:45 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado. Councilwoman Bowman. Here. Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick. Here. Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess. Mayor Bateman absent.
Okay. Any additions, deletions, or deferrals? Yes, sir. Okay. Tab number 1 is a request. Card number 825, waiver of use fees.
Move it.
Second it. Okay. Moved and seconded. Is there a staff report?
That's right. Waterstone Charter Schools is requesting of council the authorization of the city manager to waive the fees in the amount of approximately $914 for the use of the fields at Brasco Memorial Park, and if they want to use that for part of their summer camp.
Okay. Comments or questions? Ms. Waldman.
Yes. Were we able to determine whether or not this school is a not-for-profit?
Yes. Let's talk to waiver bids academy, but they're not registered waiver bids as well.
Most charter schools are
No, they're usually for-profit.
are for-profit. And also, do we know whether or not a charge is being applied for summer camp?
Or they're charging for summer camp? No, I don't know.
Do we know that they are charging for summer camp?
I can get back with you and check on that, but yeah, pretty sure.
They should, because when my daughters were there.
Turn on your mic.
I'm sorry. They should.
The reason I'm asking, Vice Mayor, is that I've had a problem for a long time, and I'm just going to put it on the record. For some reason, I was out of the room when we voted on the last use of this community center for Everglades Preparatory School, which I'm a huge cheerleader for all the schools, but there comes a time when we have to set some guidelines, and for-profit organizations, to me, should have to apply by the rules that we set forth for others. Non-profit, I have no problem as long as the money is going back into the community, such as I was going to use an example that I know of myself, and that was the Ms. Homestead, and they have scholarships that go back into the community, right back, it flows back in the community. The next item on the agenda, that's a nonprofit that's going for service back into the Southwest community and open to all areas of our city. But just for the record, I just know for a fact that there have been other schools in the past, other charter schools in the past, one in particular that rented this room and first built this building, and they paid to use this building and this room for a graduation. So for that reason, I just was there on principle from here on that unless, and really, if it's for-profit and they're donating their time and energy and services back into the community, then I have no problem with that as well. But for this, because the park is a public place, a public use, I cannot support it, and that is the reason why. Thank you.
Mr. Lincoln, are there any other uses out there that this would conflict with out there? Any other school groups, camps, or something the city over there would they count? What I'm saying, what you know is we checked the pavilions for them, and they're not taking at that time. The park is open to the public, so all we can is very volleyball and basketball, because they're public. We do not charge them if you see the car, we do not charge for volleyball and basketball. I'm saying if I could,
Yes.
if council deems appropriate and would like to move this forward to consent, then we can bring it back for consideration, Council Willing, the answers to your questions next week, and we can play this over if you're not satisfied with each and every item. Let me just ask, is there anybody here representing Riverside? Somebody, I think that would, I would vote for that myself.
Yeah.
So I think that...
Yeah, I was going to
Mr.
recommend
Shelley?
that.
Yeah, I'm just unclear what the choice is, and whether we're going to defer this until the actual council meeting, or would a better recommendation, Councilman, would be to go ahead and put this under consent to pass it right now. We'll put the agenda item together, including the answers to the questions that the councilwoman raised, and then should that not be sufficient to meet your concerns, it can be put at the next council meeting, and we can discuss it more, and we can vote it up or down. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that, and I have a comment when.
So, I think we'll have a consensus.
Okay. Yeah, I would make a comment on this though.
Yes.
Because I think the Councilman Levin raised some good points, and that is, we've got a little prolific in handing out waiver of fees, and it seems like every meeting where we have at least one, if not two, waiver of fees for something. And I know I asked Dennis to look at the numbers, so it looks like last year as a whole, fiscal year, I think we've given out $10,000 worth of waiver of fees. This year we have 5 months left, we're already at that $10,000 number. So it's becoming an increasing issue where people are getting the message that the city of Homestead is waiving fees for everything, and so they're starting to line up. And I think we do need to figure out, do we want to establish a policy going forward or not to address that? Is it based on a not-for-profit status or for-profit status? Is it something similar to that effect? Because I would like to at least look at that as an option so that we have some parameters for handing out these waiver of fees. And I personally think that if we're going to waive the fees, it should have some sort of impact within the community. I don't think it should just benefit the one organization that is getting a waiver of the fees. And so that's something I would like to look at. The not-for-profits and other go in as well. But I think if we're going to waive fees for you, either your organization as a result of the waiver should be giving something back to the community, whether it be in scholarship money or grants or things of that nature, or it should actually be an event for the community. And so those are things I'd like to see moving going forward, policy-making-wise, so that we just don't have this line of people constantly asking for a waiver of fees with no determination or criteria how we delineate one for another, because it's got to be fair. That's the other thing, too. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Actually, the numbers last year, we gave the waiver fees of $10,500 last year. This year, we have 5 months left. It's all about $3,274. Waiver fees and actually, I can start.
Thank you.
Just one question in regards to the dates that they have here. Is it, because it says here June, and then is it June 25th, or is it just June 20th and 25th, and then July 2nd and the 9th, or is it through? The days, so we're talking, there's 4 days that we're talking about. And these days are, I'm assuming they fall in the daytime and during the week. Okay. That's a problem.
One other question. When a group like this comes over there, if there's a country larger, how do we make sure that they have the appropriate chaperones or people in place to make sure that these kids are monitored and can't be harmed, or you've got 5 or 6 playing volleyball, but the pavilion's over here, 300 yards away, to make sure that everything's under control and that. Do we have a standard of how many kids to the adult, or?
Depending on how many kids you have, you have to get so many counselors. So if they have a summer camp, they have to have the counselors for the amount of kids. We do have staff that works there, and we do have some counselors there, but you have to contact the school. Their counselor.
Right. Okay, because my fear is they get there, and then if they don't live up to it, when our staff is becoming responsible for those kids that are there, latching out for myself until I get the proper amount of supervision and stuff. So that's something else we need to look at. And when we ask them, could we please ask them what the ratio of children to supervisors or chaperones are?
Also, if you see our call, let's say, for the counselors, and all of the counselors there, we've been able to do, it's particularly south of nature and all the counselors. But we don't have any into that problem, so hopefully we don't have the kids with their shirts on so they can find out and identify them when they go out of the homestead, because the whole kids look at them.
Right. Thank you.
Question.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Now, this is $914 for the 4 days, or is that the entire? Is that each day?
That's all we for the 4 days for the shelters.
And have they ever come to us before? They have, and we have granted them before.
Last year, we asked for the same thing.
That's for the same thing, and we said
Yes.
we said yes. And this year we have problems with it. What was the vote last year? Who voted for it last year? Do you all have that?
I'd like to look that up on the records if I didn't apologize.
Would you do that and bring it back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because that would be interesting to see, because who would vote for it last year, and then what the issue is, you know. And then this is the first year that this is the second year or the third year?
What I understand is there was something new because the summer campaign last year, and the state allowance this year, so it'll be the second year.
And the same amount of time, the same 4 days, they've used it?
As long as I want to say it was a long time. If I recall, I can check the call and let you know if we'll bring it back to you again to let you know what voted for.
Okay.
And also if I'm not able to charge it for last year, summer camp.
Okay. All right. And it was the same amount last year, the fees?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Waldman.
Yes, I just wanted to say that as we began talking about the upcoming budget, that's exactly when Parks and Recs and myself, we decided that, you know, that's part of our budget. That's what we depend on. We depend on those fees to offer the services. And when we found out that we had already almost, what were we, $300 away? We're about $300 away in doing the same amount that we did last year. So now all of a sudden, more and more people are asking, more and more people are coming forth to us, and I still think we need to have some sort of precedent that would go by. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you. So I think the direction is to move it along. Please try to answer the questions that were presented, and then it'll be on the next agenda. Absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, let's move on to tab number 2.
Mr. Vice Mayor, we need a vote on that, please.
Okay.
For the consent, right?
Well, yeah, just,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
thank you.
Motion carries. Okay. Tab number 2, call number 838, another waiver of those fees. Staff report, please. Church has also requested the owner of council authorize the city manager to approve the waiver of fees in the amount of $500 for the use of Michael Williams Community Center, July 20th. Okay. Is there a motion and a second? I'm sorry.
I'll second
It's
it.
been moved.
Second it.
All right. Any questions, comments, concerns from the council? Okay. Ms. Waldman.
Just for the record, again, this is a not-for-profit, and they're offering a service to the community, so I certainly support it.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tab number 3, committee of the whole minutes for May the 7th, 2013. Do I hear a motion? Move it. Move, is there a second?
Second.
Move it, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, seeing none. Motion carries. Next item is tab number 4. Motion to place car number 835 on council agenda, Ralph Sanchez Speedway Boulevard, car designation. So motion?
Move it.
Moved and seconded. Staff report, please. Yes, Mayor, staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the attached resolution designating a portion of southwest 137th Avenue as Ralph Sanchez Speedway Boulevard. Thank you, sir. Questions or comments from the council?
Vice Mayor.
Mr. Molinaro.
Thank you. I see in our audience, the president, Matt Beecher, and Al in our audience, and I would like to ask if they would just come up and say give us a little bit about background about what we're doing today.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Matthew Beecher. I'm the president of Homestead Miami Speedway, located at 1 Speedway Boulevard. As the resolution states, Miami-Dade County recently passed a resolution that will designate Speedway Boulevard, Los Angeles Speedway Boulevard, from Highway 1 all the way south down to the racetrack. And for those of you that may not be aware, Ralph Sanchez was a visionary figure, not just here in Miami, but within motorsports. He really was responsible for bringing racing to South Florida vis-a-vis the Grand Prix of Miami that was held in downtown for many years. And then, as you know, the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew got together with the city and a group of his partners in the county, and Homestead Miami Speedway came to be. I'm sad to report that Mr. Sanchez passed away here in the last couple months. And as a gesture to his legacy, outside of the Speedway itself, his family has been very passionate about the renaming of this street. And so we are 100% supportive of that. We are very proud of the fact that we forever will be attached to Mr. Sanchez, and we think this would be a great opportunity for the community to honor his legacy on the roadway.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? I know that Commissioner Moss was behind this 100% and helpful at the county. And then just one other note for whoever may be there, the county pays for any and all improvements for signage and all that stuff, so it's at no expense to the city that this would be done. So, Ms. Allen.
I just wanted to say that I was around when Mr. Sanchez started from the very beginning. I wasn't on council, but I was here in the community, and he and his legacy should be remembered. He's brought us a Super Bowl every single year to the city of Homestead. I hear the city of Homestead mentioned in movies and on the news all the time about the race cars and the Speedway, and fine job that Matt and Al are doing out there. So I certainly support it, and I think it's a legacy to Mr. Sanchez, what he's done for our community, and also for his family.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Mr. Moreno.
Thank you. Same here. I recall going over to the races in the city of Miami and watching the go races at the Miami Grand Prix that Ralph Sanchez brought, and I'm glad to know that it ended up staying here in Homestead, and I've continually attended those races throughout the year. I would just ask if Matthew would be so kind and to, if when that day happens and the rebellion happens, if we could be invited and maybe come out there and partake of when this is happening.
I don't think they're going to do it during race week.
Well, actually, Patricia Renestado is hoping to have this completed prior to Father's Day. But due to some hang-ups at the county level, that was unable to occur. But we are going to have a ribbon cutting on July 11th, and invitations will be going out soon. Certainly all of you will be invited. Many members of the county commission will be there as well as Ralph's family, and many of the business associates who you probably did business with when the track originally came to be. So you can look for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Actually, Matthew, I had just made a note that maybe we could just mention it at 4th of July when we speak to those 11,000, 13,000 people
Certainly.
that may be there. So maybe we could do some sort of moment of silence and just announce that that's going to happen.
Sure.
Okay, so maybe
That would be great.
because we'll all be there, and I think it's very important.
It'll be one of our last events on Speedway Boulevard before it changes.
Thank you, Vice.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing no one, do a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so motion carries. All right, now on to top 5. Councilman Lee, is there some other committees would you like to take it? Okay. Motion to place call number 813 on council agenda. Resolution to allow the city Homestead 2012-2013 CDBG program. Is there a motion to move?
Move it.
Is there a second? Move a second. Staff report, please. Staff recommends that Vice Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution relating to the City of Homestead's 2012-13 Community Development Block Grant Program to reallocate surplus funding to not-for-profit grant awardees listed in the agenda item. Thank you. Questions or comments?
I have both.
Go ahead, Ms. McCormick.
Okay. First off, I'd like to thank the Finance Department and Evelyn Simpson for doing a great job of expeditiously working to get these surplus funds reprogrammed for public facilities and public service. My question is, what is the plan of action for monitoring the use of these funds? Or is there one?
You don't know.
Council, as far as for public facilities, it's somewhat relatively easy because it's the outcome is really effective. It's right to do the permits, the guidelines of time, the locations. The public services can work to the point, and that's why in the application it reflects that they provide us how to measure the outcomes. A good example would be for projects for children. We may test them prior to the program beginning, and then we might test them at the end to see the results. So a lot of the reimbursements for their costs, they will be submitting, and they'll have to provide measuring their outcomes, what services they provided so far, and to some extent, sometimes the narrative as to how the program is moving on. In the past, we haven't done all the services as much as we've done all the facilities. So you do raise a good point. This is something that's relatively new to our department, but that's the plan of action.
So you're saying that's what we should do, or that's what you are going to do?
That's what we're going to do.
Okay. My next question is, what I see here is that we have the same nonprofits applying over and over again, and they're receiving funding, whereby you have some new nonprofits that are applying, and they're not receiving funding because they may not necessarily have the skill sets to be able to put a strong application together, whereas these other nonprofits, they probably have a staffer like waiting by the computer for these grants and writing them and receiving them. So my question is, what can we do to better position these nonprofits that are not as strong in grant writing to better position them to be able to obtain some of these funds? Because my philosophy is, if I'm not going to pass a kid, I'm going to explain to them why, so that the next time around, they pass. So for these nonprofits that didn't get funding, what are we going to do to better position them for the next cycle?
You want to address that? Calvin Rose with Meridian and Government Services Group. I'm your consultant for current year CDBG. You raise an excellent point, and when you look at this, when you look at the list here, you recognize many of the names here because they are big names. And just as an example, the YMCA. Everybody knows the YMCA. And you're right, they do have a professional staff, and they put together a professional application. But you're also correct that there are a lot of organizations out there that aren't as sophisticated, that don't have as much staff, who are doing equally good work in the community. And so what we have to do, and I'll be happy to help staff with this, is to meet with not just the people on this list that get funded, but with anyone who's interested, and explain to them, what we need in order to get them past the front door. Because one of the issues we have when we evaluate these, and I wasn't on the evaluation committee, but I was there in a advisory capacity is in a lot of cases, you just can't figure out what the heck they're asking for sometimes. Or you know what they're asking for, but the backup just isn't there, or it's just not clear, or often, frankly, the financials are in not really great shape. So it's definitely a counseling and a teaching process to try to get people at a capacity where they can successfully apply. I think it's a great idea, and I'm happy to help staff in whatever way I can, in my experience. And I'll sit down with anybody and try to explain to them why they didn't get funded, and what they can do to improve. And I've seen this in a lot of places where the first couple of times people don't get funded, but then they come back and it's better and it's clear, they have better financials and they understand the process better. Because, the things we're asking for are basic things. So, yeah, you're right. It's capacity building is the word I'm looking for.
Right. Okay, so just to follow up with that, let's just speak definitively. So, for these nonprofits that did not get funding, let's put a plan in place to follow up with them to help strengthen their application so that they're in a better position to get funding next time. They have the will, they have a great program, but they just don't have the skill. And I think it's in our best interest to strengthen their skill sets so that they have the skill. And my next question, Mr. Amarato, I'm looking at Leisure Dane, and I know that we just approved funding for them for a playground under the nonprofit grant, CRA grants.
The committee recommended them.
Right. And I see it also on here for a playground. Is this the same playground?
I haven't seen the people who won this round of CDBG.
I believe it is the same playground, but the funding was partial.
That is true.
Yeah, so we only funded a small piece of the whole thing.
And we did not receive full funding for the application that they submitted to us.
Okay, so with both funding sources, will it exceed the amount that they need for the playground?
You know what?
And here is 70, am I not reading this correctly?
No, you're correct, but I need to look and see, but I do know that it was much less than they asked for. But I will check that.
So it's more relevant this goes where when it comes back to you, should you choose to approve it for consent for next week, we'll provide you with a breakdown of previous college awards given to our hearing, and also an explanation of what their request was for.
Excuse me. The full request they're asking for the playground was $147,306. So this is recommending an award of $79,000. So,
and the recommendation was for, they requested $35,000. The board recommended, the committee recommended $20,000.
Okay.
This is what I would call
So how much is the playground? Because I don't recall over $100,000 even given, that amount given for the CRA nonprofit process.
Well, it's an example of they're just going to have to make it work with what we've been able to give them. So we weren't able to fully fund them.
Let's just make sure that they're not over-allocated
Oh, no, absolutely.
from both funding sources.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's very important that you communicate to ensure that this one particular nonprofit is not getting kind of double dipping here. All respect to Leisure Dean. I just want to make sure that, they're not milking this process. Okay?
Question. Mr. Williams.
But this is what I always seem to have a problem with the CDBG money. One is the lack of communication. And so when you're asking, this is my area, I don't get communication with this grant program at all. Some banks oftentimes, different things on it. I don't seem to get anywhere with it. And so that's a huge problem for me. Again, I don't know what I need to do in order that I'm not behaved. My question is, who's part of the committee that makes the allocations?
In this particular case, it was 4 members of staff. It was myself, Ellen Simpson, which is the finance department, and she oversees the CDBG program. It was Julie Richards from the city manager's office, and it was Elizabeth Manuel from the CRA.
So they do have some kind of communication, Councilwoman Fairclough, because a member of the CRA staff is part of the committee that would know about the playground equipment for Little Jump. The other issue that I have is where are the ranking sheets? I see the numbers below the sheet, where the comments, how do they arrive at how do I determine these figures and all of this? Where's that stuff in here?
Mayor and Council, I believe earlier today we provided the entire package to the entire council and council staff.
Well, it's June, but it's not in here.
The ranking sheets, the summaries are all the details, the applications.
Well, that's all it is. When we come to a meeting, if you come back up to me in May, and we're coming back for a meeting, what good does that do to me in the research, preparing for this? Just using my CS, my common sense. So, what I'm saying is, and I'm being critical of staff, is that I need the rest of the terms quickly. So, when I come to, the meeting and ask questions about how these numbers are arriving, and it's always the same question, and it's always the same thing about the same budget. It's the same issue every time. I don't get it. What am I listening?
Councilman, I'll make sure in the future that all the allocations of everybody's individual rankings with the comments and the points are included in your package.
Because it's always the same, the personal requirement, it's always the same question. Now, in terms of the finances, these organizations, what do we ask for? We ask for audited financials?
Not necessarily. It's a request that they provided some sort of financial statement, someone certified by auditors, other full-blown audits, expenditures.
What part of the application requires? What are the minimum requirements?
Our application and the city's internal application, what's required are financial statements. It's not required that they be audited financial statements. Just it needs to be comprehensive enough to get an idea of what the sources and uses are of the money they receive, and if there's a balance and a listings of assets, things like that. The reason we don't ask for audited financial statements is because that it tends to exclude a number of people who don't necessarily get audited financial statements, especially smaller.
So you mentioned compilations of financials or just a profit and loss statement. What are we looking for when we look at the financials? Because I heard you say something about strong financial, so when we're looking at the observation, when we're saying that we're strong financial, please reason to indicate that.
Well, what they provide us is, for example, a profit and loss statement. That is a good tool that we use to look at, and some of them do have audited financial statements, which they submit, but a profit and loss statement, that's a good example of what we need. We're not specific to a specific type of document in there. What we ask for is just a financial statement. So whatever they're comfortable with submitting as a financial statement, we look at, and then hopefully what they submit, we can discern what their financial health is.
So why don't you let's clarify what is Mayor's checkup? What allocate money to them? What are reasons for not allocating money to them for their work program in the Southwest community?
Greater Woodlands Chapel Free Will Church. youth program?
Well, based on the scores here, the overall scores are very low.
Right, that's how low, because I don't have the sheets in front of me. We're scoring, what's your scoring? I wouldn't know. So tell me, based on your scoring, when you all have a committee, who else was on the committee? Were you on the committee, man? What's your name? You on the committee?
My apologies in my mistake. When we reprinted the sheets in order to include some additional information on it, certain information got brought up. The last few groups, the Homestead Authority, which is HHA2, they were disqualified because the form was not certified. That's actually the wrong, my apologies, that's my mistake. And then the middle one was considered eligible because the facility was not in the city limits.
I'm talking about Williams Chapel. Where that funded? Where the reason for that funding? You said the schools are maybe what did you have allowed the bank to?
Whenever these scores get granted, and we rank in order, and we have a certain amount of money available, when the money ran out, there's no further funding for anybody else, and that's clearly stated on the list in the order of the rankings.
So what have you been doing, the financials or anything?
No, it was just basically...
You just ran out of money?
On different components, and therefore, when the money ran out, anybody that was ranked low didn't receive any funding.
Well, then I have a problem with your process. Because what you're saying to me is the program could have been good, and because most of it went into the YMCA, based on what you told Mr. McCormick, Councilman McCormick, that based on how we ranked it, they could have had some pretty good program, but because the application was not strong enough with the ranking, the allocation, because we could have gone out to have that benefit program, and there was a good program that could have put kids off the street, kept kids off the street with Williams Chapel, with the one program. I mean,
well, there are,
I just don't get it. So I have a problem with your process, I have a problem with your program, on how you arrived at what you arrived at to give a facility some out for a program, for program equipment, where you didn't get a program based on a new program that can help keep kids off the street or whatever, because you said we ran out of money. Yet, the CIA has funded them.
it's two different parts.
Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
The CIA has funded them with another pot of money, of $20,000 for the same playground equipment. Yet, we have funded them again in the last cycle. The same, just let me finish, the same organizations. I'm not saying they don't do good for the community, but here's a new entity that probably is a great program, but you say you ran out of money, because I don't get the philosophy. I'm not sure how you come up with this.
There's two programs, the public facilities, to which
I know.
there is no limit to how much you would be able to do, except for the fact that these were surplus funds. With public service, which are the ones that you're looking at, there's a limitation as to the pool of money that's available.
I understand exactly what you just said. I understand both issues. But at the same time, you know, if I have a problem with the process by which you can learn about it. And, you know, and I always have an issue with this, and with the issue with the city that you're managing, and how things are allocated, and how the process is done. And as I seem to never be heard, and my questions seem to go down, and I don't know what else to do. And I've been at this with you now since you've been here, so I don't know what else to do. So I'm going to
Vice Mayor. That's what I was alluding at earlier, with the new nonprofits coming in that may have the will, like Greater Williams Chapel. They wanted a summer program for the students, for those children who may not be eligible for summer school. They wanted a summer camp and then transportation to transport, the children throughout the summer. That's a great program. But the application was weak according to the comments that I read. Your comments were very specific, Carlos. Some of the comments were a little vague. Oh, great program. I don't understand what they're trying to do. So perhaps they weren't scored as high because their application lacked clarity, but it had a lot of merit. And it was a little disheartening to see that they didn't get funded, but the application wasn't as strong. So that's why I'm requesting for a process to be put in place for applicants as such that have a wonderful program, but the delivery wasn't there. And then I look at $42,000 for uniforms, when that $42,000 could have been used for this summer camp in the Southwest community for the children in the church. So that's why I'm saying we have to follow up with these nonprofits and help them so that for the next cycle, they're in a better position.
Thank you. Hang on a minute. Every time the CDBG grants come up before us, there seems to be a problem with the way things are administered or followed through or communicated. So I would say right now to the administrators that are here, you better open up your ears and listen tonight, because every single time they're here, they have a problem with the way they communicate to the council and to the city staff, I guess, or half to the staff members, CDBG stuff to the council who is responsible to vote on it. And I know that you guys have been over all of that before by Councilman Williams, and I agree with you. And I agree with my other colleague, Councilwoman Patricia McCormick tonight. That there's great things that could be done. $42,000 for uniforms is an absurd number for me. And another troubling statement was, well, we ran out of money. Well, maybe we should have taken $5,000 here or $1,000 there, $500 there to help these people at least get started and bring this great program that I've heard about to the Southwest. So I would say with a strong voice, whoever's administrating this better step up, or we're going to find somebody that does do the job the way that the majority of the council feels they want it done. And tonight, I'm going to vote no. I don't know how anybody else is going to vote, but I'm going to vote, and the clerk can go ahead and write that down now. Because I don't think that this has been done to the best abilities of what needs to be done in the community. So with that, I'll put the comments. Actually, Councilman Shuttle is next, and then you.
Mike. Yeah. It's not working. It's off. Mike's not working.
I kind of sort of the same with my colleagues, and that is that I think helping these not-for-profits understand the process and know how to apply for these and how to strengthen their application. And I know that there was a workshop I really held prior to this grant. I don't know if it was for the surplus funds or it was for the next one. But I know that it happened really quickly to the deadline, and I know that it was for the surplus, but I think that we need to make sure that we just follow up for those current not-for-profits that apply to help them for next year, but also find somewhere to have a workshop or a programming or something to make sure that they know how to put together an application. Because I agree, it's very hard to grant writing. There's reasons why some places get lots of money for their grant writers, and that's because they're very good grant writers. And there's a process in how to, your program or partner may not be all that good, but if you have a good grant writer, you're going to receive more funds. And so I think it is critical to make sure that we try to level that playing field so that some of our local not-for-profits and some of our smaller not-for-profits are able to qualify for some of these funds. And that's my comment. And my question deals more on the other side, and that is, for some of these grants, if we were all vote no tonight, what would be the legal ramifications? What happens? Does this go back out to how does this move forward? Because these were surplus funds with very, very tight time frames. And so my only concern is that if we take a stand by voting no tonight, how does that affect the process? And some of these not-for-profits who do need these monies and who will do good things for them,
So is the best thing to defer and work, just give council time to work with staff, or are we saying that the product and the process was so flawed, that we don't want to give any monies out of that? What is going to be the result if we don't pass this?
I defer to the consultant regarding the time frames, but if you don't pass this item tonight, it doesn't get placed on the council agenda for next Tuesday, and this money sits wherever it is. To the extent there's some expiration, I would defer to the staff.
Right.
Well, it doesn't expire. It stays where it is until you decide what to do with it. However, I will say there is a clock ticking on the public services component of this, because by law, by regulation, public services funding is limited to 15% of your annual allocation, and it has to be used from current year funding within the current fiscal year. Public services money does not carry over. So this money that we've allocated for public services has to be spent by the end of September, or you cycle into the next year, 2014, which is again capped at 15%.
Okay. And so with that, the other concern I have too is similar to where we have the same conversation with the CRA grants, and that is, the other problem I have with this is that you have applicants who have followed the process that's in place, and so then midstream at the end say that the process was flawed, we don't like the results, and as a result we're going to throw it all out. I have a little bit of a problem with it because the people that apply did follow the process, and so if the process so that's the concern I have. By saying no, by voting no tonight, we're essentially punishing those who did follow the process that we put in place, whether we like it or not, whether we like the outcome or not, or whether we think that we need to work on it. Because I do every time we have this conversation, we always talk about the CDBG, and I don't know what we need to do to fix it. But go ahead, Carlos.
Councilman, you mentioned the public service, that's the key one, and that's one that people mention the most. I think I've heard the same thing being mentioned as far as two particular applicants here. We're only making a recommendation to you. Ultimately, you make a final decision. What I'm hearing is there's a possibility where you may want to reprogram some funds from one applicant because of the program, and maybe find the one that's next in line, and you're adding that one. Again, this is a recommendation based on the information we view. The ultimate decision lies with you, and yes, we are under a deadline, especially with public service. For the public facilities, if you wanted to throw it all out, and we had to go and start all over from scratch, I guess we would be able to do that, the money would be there. But the public service opportunity, you're going to lose these funds, because this has to be by August 15th, and you're going to be getting presented at the next council meeting with the action plan for the following year with public service funds for that one. This would die out at the end of the year. So we don't get this approved, then nobody's going to benefit on this. So that's why my suggestion would be the possibility of maybe reprogramming some funds from radio program that we don't feel is.
Thanks for the because we're already hearing from our consultant. It appears that this is something that we could bring back to in July after we get a little bit more rework on the evidence that we have from Consumer Council. If we need to get this to her on August 15th, that should give us enough time. Am I incorrect?
Well, we're confusing deadlines. August 15th is the deadline for your new action plan.
Okay.
This doesn't have a specific deadline. You're amending existing money.
So, is there a reason why we can't bring this back to council next month rather than moving it forward at this time so that we can go back and consider some of the suggestions that council has provided?
The only jeopardy is at the end of September, your ability to spend this money on public facilities expires. Well, really, it doesn't expire.
If we bring it in July and council approves it, there's also time before the end of September to expend those funds, no?
I don't. There is time as possible, but HUD has to review this as well. I've alerted HUD that this is coming, and they've said they'll review it as quickly as they can. But I mean, that's getting tight.
The concern is the program would have to be completed by 9/30, so they can start, so they may not be able to. That's
Vice Mayor, I'm sorry.
Mr. Waldman.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Councilman Burns, Councilman, I hear both of you, and I agree with you, and I'm going to tell you something. I was sitting here, I was listening, but Carlos, when you said that when the committee had X number of dollars, and when they got through that many dollars, then the rest of the people were not considered. And to me, that is flawed. Is that what you said?
Based on the ranking, in other words, the first thing we did was reevaluate. We totaled up all the points. We put them in order, and we started with the monies available.
I understand.
They requested this, we funded it. And when it got to 78, at that point, the money had run out.
But when you ask, and I'm assuming Roger Don is a not-for-profit, correct? Correct? Okay, so when they request $344,000 for a playground, and I went by those facilities and I see playgrounds in place, but I don't see playgrounds in place where people really need playgrounds. So, and I'm just using that as an example. But that doesn't mean that you have to give them, and I know you didn't give them the full amounts, you didn't give everybody the full amounts, but I think it's kind of surprising that, I'm sorry, $32,000 for uniforms, you know, especially when they've been funded over and over and over, and I like the idea of Assistant City Manager Abear's suggestion that we should see how many grants these people, all these applicants have received. That's why I couldn't vote for that grant a couple months ago, because I knew that particular building had received grant after grant after grant. And this is important for us to know, because there are people, and to be honest with you, I don't remember getting that package in May. I know your departments are very, very, very important to you. But if you have any idea what we get in front of us, the emails that we get every day, the paperwork that we get every day. So I was at a real stalemate this weekend trying to study this, and I can't vote for this. I can't, but I don't understand why we can't have it. And I know we all hate meeting after meeting and meeting, but if you're saying that all you're doing is bringing forth a recommendation and it's up to us to decide, then I suggest we have a workshop and we have one immediately and we give our recommendations to what we want to do, because we can do that at a workshop, and then have a special call meeting and do what we have to do.
Vice Mayor, if I could interrupt, Chairman, I apologize. I consulted with legal, and we can bring this as a new item next week so that you don't have to approve it for consent tonight. And we'll do some very deep investigation as to the deadlines and the prospects, and then bring back to you a plan that perhaps will answer some of the thoughtful suggestions that you've left for us this evening. Other than that, I would never to vote to pass it tonight. Let's see if this brings more item next week.
I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt. Thank you. I hate to interrupt you, Mr. Assistant City Manager. My issue with the CDBG, also when we have the workshop, because it always seems that we're under a shotgun, a deadline. We got to vote for it. It's got to get the help because we're not going to lose this. There's not been a time I've not been up here that we're always been under a deadline or a shotgun time because we've got to get this, we've got to vote for it, it's got to get the help by the same time, or we lose the money. Give me a guideline, give me a timeline. Specific, it's not been at one time I've been sitting up here on council that I've not been a first vote for a CDBG fund. Can we stop putting us to a gut and forcing us to vote on something before we stop losing? It's got to stop. Every time since I've been up here on council, I don't know if my colleagues agree with me, but every time you count the us, it's an issue. We got to vote for it tonight because if not, we're going to lose the funds. Which, I mean, that's the council. So, either, you know, when, and, you know, I don't know what the issue is, but either we have a timeline, but all of us understand that many things are different, more time, you know, adequate workshops, procedures, so that we're all versed in CDBG language and understanding and guidelines, so that we're all, you know, intelligently informed on how these procedures are, so that when, you know, the consultants come, that, and finance come to us, that we understand exactly, so we're not ignorant up here. I'm not calling anybody ignorant up here, I'm just saying that ignorant means just uninformed, but that we all speak in the same understanding of the CDBG fund, because every time I sit up here, we're always under some level of the battlefield forward, now then we lose the funding, and it's got to stop. Please, staff, manager, please, don't do that to us, because now we're always saying that if we don't, you know, make a decision that some poor young person is going to have their life off. You know, that's how it's put to us, and that's simply not the case. You know, and that's not fair to us up here. You know, and when we look at the bad guy, because the rest of the issues, we're not, you know, we're not be able to kind of philosophically agree with what the recommendations are. So I just simply ask that do not put us in position to do this, what you have done to us tonight anymore, please. Because I know we pay a pretty good portion to these consultants, at least over $120,000, at least. I know that for myself. And then they earn that money to not put us on the deadline. Good night.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, listen, you know, the same time last year, we were doing the same thing, talking about with the same people, and we made the vote because of the time frame as well. So I'm okay with the reprogramming of some dollars. There's good programs out there that we know because we're in the community and we work with them, we see them, but you know you're doing your job, but we're the ones that are in the trenches and we know what's happening out there. And so what we're saying is that let's reprogram some of these dollars. I'm okay with that, but yes, you know, this is, and I'm okay with that. I know Councilman Shelley's concern was, you know, where our parameters so where we could walk in so we don't lose any funds or anything like that, but we got to make this happen because, you know, we can't move forward again the same way we did last year. I wouldn't do it. So I was, you know, I'm not going to say a long speech or anything, but I was already on the know on this because it's just not, this is the same place where we were last year. And like Jim and Councilman Williams said, you know, ever since we've been up here, it's been the same. It's gotten better, but again, we definitely need to fine-tune this. So with that, you know my position. Councilman.
Yeah. To your credit a little bit, I know we are working with surplus funds, so things are kind of at the wire because we're dealing with surplus funds and reprogramming them. So I wouldn't say that they waited to the last minute to bring it to us. It's because they found the money and now we're reprogramming it. I won't be here next week to weigh in if we move this to the consent agenda, but what I would like to recommend is that we slash some of this funding for uniforms from Leisure Dean, have them contact Neat Stuff, which is a nonprofit, great quality uniforms at a greatly reduced price, slash that funding for uniforms and potentially provide funding to the Greater Free Will Chapel Church because they were requesting funds for a summer camp. Summer's here, school's out. So we wait until July. That gives them a month for a summer program. Then they can potentially start it right now while the kids are out of school doing nothing. And that's an at-risk community, latchkey kids. So they should be probably engaged in a summer camp. So for the record, I say slash some of the uniforms and consider reprogramming it to Greater Free Will Chapel.
Question. Are they summer camp at this time?
They don't have the funding.
So will they they were able to get up and get going.
Oh, yeah?
Well, they have teachers that are part of their congregation who they were slating to be the instructional support for the summer program and help to facilitate it. But without funding, I doubt they spend 8 hours at the church volunteering. So they don't have the funding for it.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Ms. Baldwin?
He just automatically says my name. I was just looking at the calendar, and I agree with you, Councilwoman. They need it quickly. So I was thinking, if it's agreeable with everyone, we could, if it's possibly, have a workshop maybe on the 17th at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever's good for everybody. That would be next Monday. I don't think we could do it sooner than that. You're not around, John? Okay, so how about, could we do it I mean, we need to do this as soon as possible. So maybe this Thursday? Is that soon enough? Was that too soon? Are you out of town? Wouldn't?
In 48 hours.
48 hours for the public
7
notice,
o'clock.
Councilwoman.
Well, we need to do this as soon as possible, so, and could we do this?
We could do it.
Could we,
Can't we do it tonight? We're able to do it tonight. We're looking for funding right now. This is going to be a recommendation. But we're not going to go through every item and say, no, we want to give them $10,000, we want to give them $6,000, well, we don't want to give them 20, we want to give them 15, we can do that right now.
if I may finish that little sentence, I think that would be hard for me to do because I don't have the package. You know, I don't know what everybody's asking for. I don't have their applications, so I don't know their urgencies.
You know, also, it's obvious that this is important. The going through the committee of the whole process is not legally required. So, if this was important, the staff could provide you with the information, and you could make these decisions at the council meeting on Wednesday night after you've had an opportunity to get a full packet from the staff and had, you know, not a week, but, you know, a good couple of days to look at it, and then you just would have to set aside and say, we're going to spend some extra time on this item. It's not going to, you know, it's just going to take some time, and you can make proper decisions at that time, and that way, just within less than a week, these people could have, you know, they could be in line for their funding. I don't know if that helps you at all.
Vice Mayor, could we have the meeting a half an hour early?
We've already got a special call that night, we've got a CRO that night, or perhaps a special call and a presentation. So if we want to do without presentations, yes. Otherwise, we're going to be here for 12 hours that night.
Okay, well, I have no problem doing it the way the attorney said, but, you know, but I can
Just do an agenda item?
It would be an agenda item.
Yeah.
That's fine, and we'll be able to pull and add as we felt necessary. Is that correct?
If they show up, what they would do is we move this item forward this way, but then at the council meeting,
I'm not even comfortable moving it forward.
well, then what you could do is just agenda an item to make final decisions on this money, so that there's nothing, you know, this obviously would be part of the packet that you receive, but you would receive all, and you could do whatever you want, subject to whatever limitations the different categories need to be, and just set some time out. I mean, a lot of councils do that. I mean, this is a wonderful process, this committee of the whole process, and we get a lot of work done, but it's not required, so you could do the work at the council meeting.
Vice Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
could I ask that, you're leaving in the morning, Mr., but maybe you could do a conference call with Carlos and let him know what your feelings are, so that we will have an idea at the meeting what your feelings are as well? I think that would work.
Mr. Shaw, you okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I need to make the decision on Wednesday. Just what is the proper, do we need to make a motion to defer this, since we don't seem to want to vote on it tonight one way or another, so we just defer this to put it on the agenda as
No action on the committee of the whole item, just, with instructions to staff to place this item as a fresh item on the agenda.
Okay. and to make sure that they provide you information, all the backup information as quickly as they can after tonight.
Agreed?
Okay. So no action on this item, it just stays there. And then the motion, and I think I saw consensus to have a new item on the agenda with the backup information.
So we'll get a full package in the next agenda of rankings, who were done, why. We'll have all of the history of the various grant funding for entities that were awarded here. We'll get you the ranking sheets, we'll get you the full applications. We'll explain to you the procedure that was implemented here and the rationale for it, and we'll try to get that to you as soon as possible. And I don't know, perhaps somebody could reach out to us, maybe perhaps call us if there was time, reach out to everybody and make sure we're comfortable after they get their packages and if they have any questions or whatever. Absolutely. Thank you. All right, moving on. Item number 6. What are your items? You want it? You want to read it? Okay. Motion to post call number 787 on council agenda. Agreement for the use of the tennis court and racquetball courts at J.D. Webb Park. I'll entertain a motion.
Move it.
And seconded by Ms. Wellman. Staff report for Ms. Wellman. Whoever.
I'm so passionate about this. I'm just so excited that we have this opportunity in front of us, and I'd like to ask either David or Dennis to give a little summary. We have people here representing the tennis program. You might want to come to the podium just in case there's any questions. But I'm just going to be their biggest cheerleader and tell you that they come highly recommended through Dade County, through the United States. So, I mean, they're just wonderful, and I hope that we will find it in our hearts to move this forward, because it's an opportunity. If we don't accept it, they've got to go somewhere else. So with that, if Vice Mayor, if it's all right, Dennis or David.
Sure, thank you, Councilor. Vice Mayor, Council, this is a recommendation from staff that you authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement between the city of Homestead and the Friends of Miami Tennis Inc. for the use of 6 tennis courts at J.D. Webb Park. Thank you. I see, I guess for lack of a better term, the applicants are here. They'd like to say anything on behalf of the program and what their intentions are.
Yes, thank you. My name is Kathy Nordlin, and I work for the United States Tennis Association, and Emily Reed, who's with Friends of Miami Tennis. And Emily's going to just a minute or two to tell you about Friends of Miami Tennis, and then I'd like to talk to you about the programs that we'd like to bring to your community. Thank you. Good evening, council members. Just a little bit about Friends of Miami. Okay. My name is Emily Reed, 2700 Southwest Miami. Southwest 29th Ave. Miami, Florida 33133. I can go ahead now? Perfect. I've been a member of this board since we started with the CTA, which was with Miami Tennis, and for the last 6 years, our goal and our mission has not changed. Our biggest thing is to go out into the community to manage, promote, and provide affordable tennis and programs while building a healthy lifestyle. We work hand in hand with the USTA, which is the United States Tennis Association, with developing and bringing programs, teaching our staff, teaching children, teaching adults, teaching wheelchair tennis at the facility, as well as children with special needs. We provide special techniques and programming for them, and our actual goal is just to continue to build within the communities this healthier lifestyle and affordable programming within the community. Thank you. Friends of Miami Tennis, if I can add, is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. They have, as Emily stated, been with Miami Tennis for quite a few years in partnership with Dade County Parks and Rec and also the Village of Palmetto Bay Coral Reef Park. I work for the United States Tennis Association, and I work with Friends of Miami to bring programs. We're very excited to have this opportunity to bring programming. Programming for kids, for adults, for seniors. The executive director of Special Olympics, who I work closely with, is looking for facilities that he can do an ongoing program year-round with Special Olympics, and he's very interested in bringing this to Red Park. So if you have any questions, we're happy to answer anything that you might want to know.
Just a comment. I was excited when I saw this. I think it brings a nice element to the city of Homestead, and I'm glad that we're able to hopefully make it happen. And I'd be so happy to come out and watch the kids and take some lessons myself.
I was going to say, we hope that all of you are going to be out there taking lessons.
Absolutely.
We do a lot of free programs, too. We're all about community, and that's the advantage of having a not-for-profit. Of course, they're a business, and they have to make money so that they can put improvements and everything back in. At Tamiami Tennis Center, one of the exciting things that they did was through funding through USTA Florida Foundation, and Friends of Miami Tennis, they put in permanent 36-foot kids courts and permanent 60-foot courts. And they are the first in the country to have this. And we just had a big celebration in partnership with Michelle Obama, the Let's Move campaign. Tamiami was the 10,000th court, kid-sized courts. So they are looking to do some really exciting things with the city of Homestead and getting all of you guys out. We do a lot of free community events too, which is very important.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Just a question, because when I was reading this, I saw that there was also some discussion about the handball courts. Could you tell me your idea of what we're doing in that area? Because it seemed like there was a sense that permission needed to be asked, or some type of agreement had to be worked out before anyone would play on the handball courts. I'm not really clear on it, so that's why I'm asking the question. And the reason why I bring it up is because here in Homestead, we've been one of those handball core communities. I remember going to school here in Cabot Drive. I mean, that's all we did in the beginning and after school. And so I still see a lot of the older crowd out there playing handball, and I know that they use that court more than the actual tennis courts, and Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong on that. And so I just want to make sure that, they're going to have that equal play, because that handball court is heavily used, and so how are we going to work that out? Because I see that's in agreement here.
Right. The racquetball courts we don't really use for our programming. Sometimes if we have tournaments, and we discuss this with the director, that sometimes when we have big tournaments come in, that the kids might warm up on the racquetball courts, and that would be something that we would let you know in advance. Hey, we're going to have a tournament in September. We might need the racquetball courts for a few hours, so you would know that way in advance. But on an ongoing basis, we don't use the racquetball courts. Some of the things that we did discuss with the director is safety and community. We're all about family and kids. So I know there's issues about people jumping over the racquetball court, the fence in the back. So we would like, for the safety of the children and everything, that the racquetball people just come through the main gate, let us know they're there, and then they can have fun at the racquetball courts all they want. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. That's good. And how are you guys gonna? I mean, how's that gonna be worked out though? Are they gonna come to the fence? I mean, unfortunately, kids are kids sometimes, and so.
What we're going to do is we're going to put signs to notify the Friends of Miami Tennis bank is coming in, and we'll let everybody know with signage, and to let them know they've been able to check in at the concession stands, so that we can keep track of everything and keep it safe for everybody. The great thing about this program is that Parks and Rec
if you look at our city, all we have is baseball, football, and it would be a little bit basketball, but the thing is now we have tennis programs. Since I've been back to 3 years ago, JD was always empty, and I never figured it could be. But it was funny when I was here, and she sent me, we sat there and she sent me every director's call that she talked to me for me. And really, I just want to bring programs to the community, and they talk to the county, they praise them, and they basically pay for much of it, and to help out for us.
Thank you. Mr. Shirley.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just had a question, not on the program. I think the program is great. I think what you guys are going to bring to our community is unique and is good and something that we need. So I don't have any questions on the program. It's more of a contract question. I see in the maintenance, it doesn't address the surface or the striping. It just says that we're in a pressure cleaning, we have to maintain the fencing, the light poles, and pay for the lights. They don't do the windscreens and the nets, but then it leaves blank who's responsible for painting or the striping or maintaining the surface of the courts. Because I think that's key to make sure that everything's in good shape.
The contract is to pay for cleaning for us, to be responsible for the striking. Maintaining for them, we have a police officer here, but you don't need to be on the radio and the screen. But also, in a way, you also respect your maintenance costs, because you have someone who likes the courts, and it's going to be selling the screens and the coverage, but then also, balls in it, at least someone who is even analyzing the office and making it nice.
Yeah, my question really is just making sure that we clearly know who is responsible for what, so that, 5-year contract with extensions, obviously the striping is going to need to be replaced, it's going to need to be repainted, the surface may start to crack and crumble, and it's unclear on whose responsibility that is, so I want to make sure that it was clearly delineated, whether it's them or it's us. I just want to make sure that we know, because it's not here.
Councilman, also, with the community wants to make sure that they take that out of their thing to have that done. So, it's, we work with them, when it came to the agreement, they work with them, they work with us to better the courts and make it better for us.
And if I could address that, Councilman, we're all about partnership and a win-win situation. And one of the things at Tamiami Tennis Center, those kids' courts and the improvements that have been made there has been no cost to Dade County Parks and Rec. Through the resources of USTA, there are many grants, and we would definitely work with Parks and Rec. So get on the line, you have to resurface or anything major, put in the lights or whatever. We would assist you in letting you know the resources that are available for you, and there is grant money available. So,
Again, also operations manager of the Parks and Rec took me on a tour of their facilities up at Tamiami Park, and I can assure you they have a first-class operation up there. They keep those courts pristine. They've added new park courts at no cost to the taxpayers, and they're committed to look for grants for us as well. So we're assuming no additional burden for our taxpayers here. The labor courts always open and available to our taxpayers. That will not be precluded from their use, and we hope and we expect that this is going to be a very fruitful partnership between these two entities, and we're looking very much forward to this.
No, I just put nothing less. I just want to make sure it's clear, because it's not in writing, so it seems to be oral and verbal, and everyone's happy, so that's great. But as an attorney, I'm trained to think of the winners, so I just wanted to make sure that, if that's our intention, not that winner, that's fine too, but I just wanted to raise it to make sure.
I think if you look at the paragraph on like this second full paragraph on page 2, where they agree to accept the facility as an as-is condition and responsible for all necessary needed improvements, that they're responsible for that.
Okay. That's fine. As long as it's addressed, that's all I want to make sure. So other than that, I have no issues.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, hearing none, open this to the public. Any comments on the public? You got to come up to the microphone, please, sir. state your name and then,
Robert Haley, 2512 Southwest North Place, Homestead. I just want to mention, I have 5 children from Homestead that have had to travel up to Coral Reef and Taniana to play in these programs. And there's many, tennis is a sport that will stay with you for your lifetime. And with these 5 children, 2 high school seniors, one got a scholarship to Cornell, one played around for Southgate High School as a scholarship to Central Florida. The 7th grader is an officer in the Junior Honor Society. The 5th grader is in the Junior Honor Society, and the high school sophomore is a high school honor society. So tennis brings more than just the sport to them. That's my comments. Thank you. That's the 5 kids from Homestead.
Thank you. It's more than 5. Thank you very much.
That's right. And I would be lost if I didn't say welcome to a couple of other councilmen who are on those,
Thank you.
correct pronunciation.
That was correct, and thank you for all of that. One of us in Tallahassee. I wasn't sure, I didn't hear public comment after the CDBG, so I wasn't sure if that was left out. When I brought up about this section, so I just was kind of asking for a point of clarification on that.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I can speak on it?
Can you let us know how this is like that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Hearing none, no other comments from the public, I'll close the public hearing. Do a vote. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now, I want to give our esteemed councilwoman from Cutler Bay a moment to get a point of clarification. I imagine Richard, you probably be the best one to answer this.
I just wanted to let you know that I'm here on behalf of the YMCA of Greater Miami as an applicant for the CDBG process. And we were very pleased, or actually sorry that all of the funds from the last year's process weren't spent, but we're also very pleased that we opened it back up because we didn't know where the funds spent. We have 2 applications in. One is for the adaptive aquatics program and one for the summer. So I understand that we're going to be us to next week. I also have my commission meeting next week, so I would appreciate the time to speak on that. And we also have the proceedings going related to the drainage project that is for the Homestead Preschool. We cannot raise the funding. Every time it rains, the preschool funds are the Homestead restored. And so this drainage project will really with the public facilities so that we can get more drainage to the buildings. I know that there were a lot of comments related to large not-for-profits with grant writers and those who are one of those, but we also we do a lot for the domestic community. In 2012, our agency provided $35,251 in scholarships to the preschool children, 122 preschool children, 95 summer camp youth, and $200 million to participate in their lives. So financial assistance is very important to us. Additionally, $229,000 for subsidized child care. That's been a very poor children that can after school summer camp and preschool. So we do give back to the city of Homestead. So far in 2013, through grants that we procured we secured more centers in the nation with 38 children attending in the 21st century community resource grant, and they attend the entire year for free. School accounts for $39 to the total of $46,100 for that school alone. We also have, through the Children's Trust, funding for residential elementary for this summer than Homestead 1. 63 spots before the 5 years for the summer reading program, taking 9 weeks, we're trying for free. And we have funding from Ocean Reef Foundation for summer camp and after school with the Homestead 1, as well as with Homestead Elementary. The Miami Cultural Arts Center they were spending for the first time ever a junior year biology camp to be held at the Homestead family this summer to provide 8 kids with a first scholarship and 25 kids with partial scholarships so they can participate in that program. So we know it's very difficult sometimes for us to get public facilities dollars and to upgrade improvements, but we do give back to the community through many events, in which I am the Director of Government Relations and Grants, and so I'm very familiar with the grant process. And we really hope that we could consider our 2 applications that we have in, and we do you justice when we do it, and deliver the community to your satisfaction. And thank you for allowing us to speak.
No, thank you for coming down, and I apologize for not having public comment on the last item, but it sounds like great things down here, not just here, all over the entire country, so I'm sure that the YMCA will have strong consideration when these things are brought back to us next week. I don't think anybody was talking about YMCA tonight specifically. I think there were other issues that were at question tonight, and maybe some other sources of funding that were at question. But I will assure you that everything will be given its due weight and properly looked at and moved forward on next week.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and council members. Thank you.
Okay. And did anybody have any questions or comments for her before we? Okay. Thank you. We are on to tab 8, I believe. Is that correct?
Tab 7.
Tab 7? Okay. Motion to place call number 832. First Amendment to a lease agreement with the School Board of Miami-Dade. I'll entertain a motion. Seconded. Thank you. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Staff recommends that the Mayor and Council authorize the City Manager to execute the amended lease agreement between the City of Homestead and the School Board of Miami-Dade County for the use of Homestead facilities.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? Mr. Shea? Okay. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close it. We vote all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is, why the heck do I keep changing the page? Tab 8 now. Excuse me. Motion to place call 818, roof replacement at Homestead Energy Services Administration Building. I'll entertain a motion. Move it. Move. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Staff recommends the Vice Mayor and Council approve the award of the bid for a new roof on the Utility Administration Building. The bid award to ACM Roofing in the total amount of $64,924.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll open it up to the public for public comment. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close it. Do a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next item is tab 9. Motion to place call 819 on council agenda. Item ITB number 201318. Is there a motion and move it? Is there seconded? Seconded. Staff report, please.
Staff recommends Vice Mayor and Council authorize the City Manager to award ITB 201-2008 to Pool and Kent Company of Florida in the amount of $910,000. This project will put us in compliance with the new U.S. EPA standards for emissions.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Hearing none, seeing none, I open it for the public. Any public comments? All right, we'll now call on any questions. Do we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Tab number 10, motion to place call number 839 on council agenda, ITB number 201314, automated feeder switches. Is there a motion?
Move it.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Thank you. Staff report.
Thank you. Staff recommends the first meeting of council authorize the city manager to award ITB 201-314 to HD Supply Repair Solutions in an amount of $102,276. This will continue the ongoing project of implementing the automated feeder switch project.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the public? Anyone seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, tab 11 is a discussion item. Call number 836, monument signs in honor of, who is this guy, Antro Road? Super Bowl what? Super Bowl champion, son of Homestead Motor. Who wants to start it? Chief, you want to start it? Go ahead, Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I'll start this one off. I guess I just need some clarification. I know that this was brought up, and I read here in the resolution that the idea, I guess, was to create monument signs that say, I guess, Homestead Antwerp Road, based on, is that the concept, I think, that is being presented here in the staff report?
Thank you, Councilman. Yes, Council has asked the staff to look into some possible options to present our recognition for the outstanding effort on the championships that have been won in no small part by the efforts of Mr. Roy. We did some research, and these are two options that we've already confirmed are possible with the county, but it's of course we entertain any other possibilities that Council might have. Would you want to explain what you're talking?
Sure. Basically what we did is, in response to a request that we got several months ago, we went and contacted the county to find out exactly what kind of signs are allowed to be placed within right-of-ways. Because their first idea was to put basically like a monument sign along major highways as you're entering into the city, basically saying home of Antwerp Road. Based on the investigation and the study that was done by the county, those particular type of monument signs do not meet the highway standards required by DOT, and they're not allowed within roadway right-of-ways, whether they be county, city, or state highways. The type of monument signs that you could put on right-of-ways are monument signs welcoming you to city or directional signs per se. And there's other types, but those are mainly the ones. So through conversations with them, they mentioned that you could put these type of signs on city property that is adjacent to a right-of-way of a major roadway. In essence, they would be on our property, but not within the particular right-of-way of the roadway. So we looked at several locations that would meet both those requirements, that they would not be in right-of-way, but would be in a location that is city-owned, but would be very visible from a roadway. So the ones that we were able to find and that would meet those criteria would be basically right here in this property, along Chrome Avenue, in the front of this building, were basically right next to the sidewalk, so it would be our property, not right-of-way. And the other location that we were looking at was at US1, the intersection of US1 and Campbell Drive at Harrisfield. Again, with the same conditions applying, that the sign would be not within the roadway right-of-way per se, but within city property. So those are the two locations that we were looking at as possible places that these signs could be placed.
Okay. And the reason I asked the question is that I'm a little more uncomfortable about us doing a sign like that that says home of a particular individual, because precedent-wise, I don't think we've ever done anything like that in the city. And so you establish a precedent with a lot of other well-known, famous people within our city limits who have come from our city who have accomplished a lot of things. And so next year you'll have a whole litany of signs lining any particular roadway declaring it the home of that particular individual. And so that's kind of a concern I have with this particular concept. Although I do want to make sure the city of Homestead does honor Trevor for all that he's done, for the role level that he is, and for his success in the Super Bowl. I have more of the concept of maybe a statue to Harris Field, of him, or possibly even renaming one of our roads in favor of him. But there's other things that we've done in the past by naming a park after an individual or a roadway. I believe that other cities have done similar things for their Super Bowl winners. And so I would be comfortable with that. I think that'd be a great way to honor him. But to establish this precedence that we've never done before in our city, of having a sign that says it's the home of a particular individual, I think is problematic for me going forward as a precedent setter. So my recommendation would be do something, whether either there's a statute in Harrisfield, or whether it be renaming a roadway, like we do with some of the troopers, the US 1, but for that portion within the city limits, maybe it's on Trail Roll, Boulevard or something. However we decide, I'm fine with that. That I think is a better concept. So I just want to raise that for discussion going forward.
Thank you. Ms. Wagner.
I think the home of Harris Field, where I grew up playing football, I think that would be a lovely tribute to him. And I like the idea of the statue instead of just a monument sign, something that maybe costs us more money, but it would certainly be a great tribute. And every little boy and every little girl who puts on their shoulder pads and football helmets and goes out there, he would be the mentor and the hero to all those children. So I certainly think that would be a really great thing. I know it's hard because not only do we have many people that live here in our community who are authors, and I found out today there's a country western singer that's from Homestead. I don't know his name, but there is one. And, many different people, but we're also a home of NASCAR. So, you start getting a community that's 100-year-old historic community as well. So, but I think that Harris Field might be just a real place where all those little children are going to go there, are going to say, who's that? Who's that? And then they'll hear the story. So, and I'd like to have a really nice statue, and I might try to carry a ball or, just something, pose, and we'd have to pose. But I think that's something that I would like to ask if my colleagues agree, and to maybe ask staff to look into something like that and put us back some costs.
And I would take it a step further because we're doing it in public places. So perhaps as we recap and think this project through, we can find a little honest.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What we'll be able to do within the scope of what we're doing that would fall under the umbrella of art in public places, as that would be a piece of art in the public. It would be a local artist that we would be helping to perhaps promote their career further and do things like that. So I think there are opportunities for us to look at things and to do something like that. And the one is going to be there, we're not going to take it out of the general fund or whatever account that we're at, because I know that we do have money in the other places committee, so perhaps Mr. Cordero and his group could get that committee together, and once we get some ideas, or they can work on some ideas and see what we can bring forward, and something could come out of that fund that might have started. I'm sure the people and developers, that, hey, we are going to use it, we're not just going to take it and escrow it. We'll be happy to do that once more. And now, if that is the consensus of the council to look at something that would only go smooth, we'll look at some options and price things out and work with the road family to see if we can try to come up with some options for you to consider. Just one other comment is I was just looking for the big South Carolina, home of Vanna White, and they honor her with some placards on the side of the road, home of Vanna White, as you come in, and they flip for you, and, the whole works. But, there are other things that we can do, perhaps to let people know that are passing through here that may not visit Harrisfield, but we're on the whole of Antrim Road, and other people that we would so desire to put up there. So I think there are other options also of letting people be aware that we have outstanding citizens that have accomplished rare things that people strive for, as a lot of people strive for all their lives. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think, it's good to hear that looks like we're going in a higher step or better. I think of Chicago, and I think of Michael Jordan statue that's out in public places, and even when I was in Boston, I saw a great, I think they have one of Larry Bird, if I'm correct on that. And so, I'm okay with the signage because, like you've mentioned, Vice Mayor, we've seen and gone throughout cities and states, and we've seen the home of, and it's always that nice, it's nice to know that when you go and say, oh, this is where this person is from, and you put that recognition to the city. It's great to highlight and individuals who've done great in our community. I'm a big advocate and I'm happy, and it's about time, that we recognize Antrim Road for his efforts. And so I'm okay either way, because at the end of the day, we're recognizing an individual that's done great in this community, and it brings recognition. Besides the NASCAR and the racetrack, we got a Super Bowl champion at home. So, but I think, like you said, if Councilwoman Judy Rodman, you mentioned that a statue in Harrisfield would also be a nice gesture. I think that's taking it to another level and a better level. So I could agree with that as well.
Mayor, Vice Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I support this agenda item. I'm all for recognizing our homegrown, and he's been very successful on the football field. I'm all about paying it forward. And he utilized his fame and fortune on the field to be very charitable in the community. So I think that it makes him well-rounded and very deserving of this recognition. So I'm in support of a monument sign in Harrisfield to pay tribute to his success on the field, but more importantly, off the field.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just one last comment. I do like the concept that you came up with as an idea that if we do signage, we should maybe look at a uniform sign where we put all of our notoriety people, people that are famous and people that have accomplished a lot, so that it does have a list of look at all these people that came from the city of Homestead and what they've accomplished. And so I think that would be a good, maybe have that on our public right-of-way somewhere, maybe in an art form or some other signage where we have multiple names, and then you can honor individuals such as statues for one individual. And other types of ways of doing it for others. So I think it's a good idea. I like that concept.
All right, you got clarification, because I haven't.
I see that next year. No, I mean, I do. I think we need to work on it a little bit, maybe come up, because first of all, we bring up, we have a lot of great people, and we don't want to leave anybody out and hurt their feelings. So I think there are ways for us to look at this with signage and perhaps a statue over there, so maybe we can work on this. Move forward as yes, we do want to do something. Maybe we can get some ideas brought back to us as, some signage, some street signs, monuments, some monuments, so we understand. When you say a monument sign, I mean, I know what we put out there as a welcome sign. Is that what we're talking when you say monument sign, or the clarification? I need to see a very visual person, and artwork would be very important to me. Yeah, if you want to look at a parallel track, I can certainly appreciate, especially in our centennial year, that we should look at the potential of having a sort of Homestead Hall of Fame listing of prominent individuals who have brought honor and pride to this community. And if you'd like us to, at the same time, as I indicated, work with the royal family on something that might be appropriate to the Park of Harrisfield. Obviously, our trial was dedicated as
Councilman Fairclough McCormick just indicated considerable amounts of his time and his resources to empowering and encouraging those in need within our community and stands as a role model in that respect too. So, and that's why we thought Homestead would be a good idea for something there that would be more perhaps youth and sports oriented. But I think that a sort of flower thing for Homestead is something that we can explore too, and I think that's a great concept. And let's not forget, make sure you reach out to the Art and Public Places Committee and that staff work with that. And so it displays on the umbrella, because I don't know the exact wording. I think it will. We can find perhaps from Art South, Mr. Shaw might be able to help us with that. And somebody who does whatever type of statue we think would hold up to the weather and whatever vandalism or whatever we have to look at nowadays. And perhaps we can promote a local artist also. Great idea. That's something back to. Thank you. Any business from the manager? Complete? Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir.
Any comments or questions from the council? Last comments? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll call for adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Moved and seconded. Thank you.